Okay, in lesson 4 from unit 5, we're going to show you yet another way to solve a system of equations. This is called the elimination method because we want to eliminate, get rid of one of the variables. We can do this by adding the two equations together. So over here we have your steps for solving a system of equations by elimination. Again, I encourage you to pause the video right now, write these steps down. Then you are able to use them in the classroom tomorrow to do your homework. Okay. Pick your favorite variable. Well, when I look over here, I don't know what my favorite variable can be. Y. I'm going to pick Y. And once again, there's no reason or rhyme behind it. I just want to pick Y. I want to get this variable's coefficient to be added inverse in both equations. So what does that mean? It means this. In this equation, the coefficient is 5. So in my second equation, I want that coefficient to become a -5. So let me get a better pen here. So how am I going to get that to be a -5? We multiply each equation by constants so that we create additive inverses. So in other words, I am going to keep this first equation. 4x plus 5y equals 12. But I am going to take the second equation and I am going to multiply that entire equation by -5 because I want to create that -5 in front of the y. -5 times -2 gives me positive 10x. -5 times y gets me -5y. -5 times 8 gets me -40. Look what I did. I created additive inverses. Additive inverses mean that if I added them together, this +5 and this -5, I'd get 0. And guess what? That's my next step. Add the two together. When I add these two together, I get 14x. But look what happens to the 5y and the -5y. They cross off. 12 and a -40 give me -28. Continue to solve. And I've got my x variable. Now I want to solve for the remaining variable. That would be the y. So I can go back to either equation I want. I'm going to go back to the second one because it looks the easiest. -2. In for x, I'm going to put -2 plus y equals 8. 4 plus y equals 8. So y is 4. So I'm saying that these two lines will cross at the point where x is -2 and y is 4. Well, to make sure, I can do a check. So I'm going to clean up this page right here, and I'm going to check my point into both equations to make sure it works. So 4 put a negative 2 in for x, plus 5, put 4 in for y, should get me 12. Negative 8 plus 20 does indeed get me 12. Works in that equation. Let's see if it works in the next equation. Negative 2, put in negative 2 for x, put in 4 for y, should get me 8. Does 4 plus 4 get me 8? Yeah, so it's checked in both equations. Okay, example 2 here. You can look back now, and again, we want to use the elimination method. Pick your favorite variable. Do you want to pick x or do you want to pick y? It doesn't matter. I'm going to pick x. So that means I have to get the same coefficient in front of x, and one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So I'm just going to multiply this entire top equation by a negative 2. I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by 5. And look what happens. 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4y. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. Okay, I'm going to multiply the bottom by 5. 10x. 5 times 7 is 35y. 5 times 43, well 5 times 40 is 200, so that's 215. And then my last step is the elimination where I add them together. Terms will be eliminated. And I'll have one variable left. So let's see, that would be 195. So how many times does 39 go into 195? I believe the answer is 5 times. All right, so we're not done because remember, it has to cross at a point. And a point has to have an x and a y. So right now I think my y is 5. So I have to go back to either equation and figure out my y variable. Well, neither equation looks easier than the other. So I'm just going to pick that first one. 5x minus 2, I think my y is 5, gets me 10. 5x minus 10 gets me 10. 5x equals 20. When I move this 10 over here, x is 4. So I think my answer is when x is 4 and y is 5. Well, I would simply put them back into both equations and check. Make sure they're right. I'll do a formal check over here now. Formal check is where I write it all out. 5 times 4 minus 2 times 5 better get me 10. 20 minus 10 get me 10. Yep. All right, the next one. Twice the x value plus 7 times the y value will get me 43. 8 plus 35 get me 43. Absolutely. So our answer of 4, 5 is the point which these two lines cross at. All right, and the last problem, remember this is problem number 3, is a word problem. Two numbers have the following property. I don't know what they are, but I'm going to let x be one number, and I'm going to let y be another number. Now, what do they tell me about them? The sum of the larger. All right, so definitely one of these is larger. So I'm going to make this the larger number. And this is going to be the smaller number. So the sum of the larger and twice the smaller. So it says the sum of the larger and twice the smaller equals 13. Twice their positive difference. All right, there's a little trick right there. Let's break this down. Twice means 2. Their positive difference. Well, difference means to subtract. And when I subtract them, I want the answer to be positive. So that means I have to take my larger number and subtract my smaller number. And that will get me 8. Now find the two numbers. All right, well, I see something I can do with this bottom equation. I can distribute the 2, and that's what I get. Now I'm going to rewrite my top equation, and I see something that's absolutely, positively lovely. I can eliminate right away by adding these two together, because right here I have the additive inverses of my y's. So if I add these equations together, I get 3x. The y's will cancel out, equals 21. So x has to be 7. So I think my larger number is 7. Well, now I'm going to go back to any one of my equations. I'll go back to this one, and I am going to substitute 7 in for x, and that will then get solved. Move this 7 over here. Oh, so I say my y value is 3. So does that check? Does the sum of the larger and twice the smaller get me 13? Yep, 7 plus 6 gets me 13. If I take twice their difference, well, their difference is 4. If I twice it, it's 8. Does that equal 8? Yeah. So my two numbers are 7 and 3.